All right. Welcome to the live episode of the Great Bogey Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron, and we have a very special guest, the one-of-a-kind Teddy Lousy Hair the second, TL2 for short. I just declared that right now. Teddy,
Thank
how
you,
you
sir.
doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a pleasure to be here. Um, I just want to give a quick shout out to all of our sponsors. Um, First is Cookout, I
Cookout.
believe. I believe we just got that Cookout contract. Correct me if I'm wrong.
We
So
signed.
every
We're
yes,
waiting for
yes,
their signature. Yeah, so.
yes. Um, Cookout. Visit your local Cookout establishment, get your combo number three, and support your boy Cameron.
Yeah. So, Cookout, peanut butter Oreo shake is top notch. Let's just interject that right there.
I could
Teddy,
agree.
Teddy, what is your go-to shake at Cookout?
I actually would get the either just the straight peanut butter.
Okay,
Straight peanut butter was good. Peanut butter and chocolate was also good. I usually don't stray away from either of those, to be honest. The 20 times I've been, it's one or the other.
got it.
And then, of
Got it.
course,
Okay.
two quesadillas and cheese curds. And then that's your perfect order.
What do you remember the first time you had Cookout?
I do. I was on my way.
Apologies. You may be able to hear my son losing his mind right now. So,
Oh, that's
um,
okay. It's because he just heard you mention cookout, and
yeah, he wants it.
you're not giving him any. First time I went to cookout, I was on my way to Myrtle Beach for it was like a spring break uh, shootout sort of tournament thing, and we passed by, pulled in, and it was the guys I was with just kept talking about it the whole drive up. And so I was looking forward to it, and it exceeded my expectations.
Hmm.
The price and the quality, I mean, you can't go wrong.
You can't. You really can't. Like, so the first time I had it, you were present. You were there. I believe you were
That was
there.
your first time?
That was my first time. Was June Jam of
Yeah.
2020. What was that? 22.
22, yeah.
Yep. So we're in Pine Needles, Southern Pines, whatever that area is called, playing golf.
I believe Southern Pines.
And I think it was after our Pine Needles round we went, right? Me, you, and Barton.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Anyways, this place was hyped up. Everyone's like, "Yeah, you got to go to Cookout." I'm
Yeah.
like, "All right, cool. Maybe it's extremely nice and just really good." Uh, it was good for the value. You pay like $8-9, you get a shake and like way too much food.
Yep.
Um, and then I overtalked it, and now I don't even want to go there ever again. So that's
Well,
my my first
it's kind of
experience.
like people with Bucky's, right? Bucky's is really good. It's an interesting experience. But
Yep.
if you talk it up too much, then when people come from out of town and stop at one, it's not going to live up to those expectations. But if you had never heard of a Bucky's before and pulled into it, it's a wonderful gas station.
Hmm. Yep. It's Denver, Colorado just got their first Bucky's up in Johnstown, like an hour north of.
Okay. Have you made the trek yet?
Not yet. It's on the way to my brother's house in Fort Collins, so I imagine the next time we go up there, we'll be making the stop, grabbing some beaver nuggets, and I personally like the chopped brisket sandwich and the smoked turkey barbecue turkey sandwich.
The Yeah, I'm not getting turkey from a barbecue place. Um, that's just me.
Sure.
I'll get the brisket or the pulled pork, and then a couple of the tacos, maybe some jerky.
Did you say
Um,
tacos?
yeah, they have tacos.
They're
Or at
good.
least the one in St. Augustine does. It's not bad. They'll have like fajita, like chicken fajita tacos.
Yep.
It's like $3, and they're delicious.
Got it.
So I'll usually get one or two of those plus a sandwich,
Yeah.
in and out.
The first time I went to Bucky's was actually that same trip, we
Oh yeah, because you were
so
going to
yeah, I made a family vacation out of it. So
right
after Pine Needles, Southern Pines, uh,
Southern
my wife,
Pines.
yeah, my wife flew into Raleigh, and we headed down to Charleston a couple days later, and we're just driving down the highway. I didn't really look up Buc-ee's, and all of a sudden I see the big beaver sign coming over
Yeah.
the horizon. I said, "Sarah, look, it's Buc-ee's." She's like, "What is that?" I'm like, we're about to find out, babe." And that was our first experience. It was slam pack, and the
Yeah.
lady at the register goes, "Oh, this isn't even that busy." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" We had to put our son on my wife's shoulders just so I could find them, like when we got separated.
So the claim to fame is 100 pumps, and obviously it's like a mini Walmart inside,
Uh-huh.
right? The our a mutual friend of ours, Tim Hunt, it lives in Ocala, Florida.
Well, let me interrupt
They
you. Tim Hunt is active in the comments right now, so
okay,
he's
perfect.
he's listening.
So they're actually building the largest Buc-ee's in his hometown currently.
How do you
Just
feel
broke
about that,
ground.
Tim? How do you feel about that, Tim?
200 pumps. He might not have even heard about it yet. This is hot off the press. This is breaking news. Do you have a
You have
graphic for breaking news?
you have this. I don't. I don't have that queued up. I wasn't anticipating breaking this kind of news tonight. So
That's fine.
consider
That's
the
fine.
ball dropped on that aspect.
That's fine. I texted you about it, but that's no big deal.
Yeah, maybe. I was really busy today. I didn't have time to read all my texts, Teddy.
Sure. Yeah, I get it.
So why don't we get this train back on the tracks here, Teddy? So
Okay. All right.
today
Yeah.
today this was not in our agenda to talk about, guys, but it's a great topic. But
Uh,
anyways, Teddy, I would like you to let our audience know who you are, what you're all about, your golf story. I'll preface it with it. Teddy's one of the better golfers I've played with. Very consistent. Uh, Saw him hit the pin on a par three that was just absolutely incredible, and then his playing partner just dead shanked it into the trees right after that. Or no, it
well,
was right
that this
before.
the shank was before. The shank was before.
So your playing partner shanked it, and then you
Correct.
literally stopped like 2 inches in front of the cup for an ace while four of us were watching. So
Yes.
that being said, Teddy, go ahead, give yourself a formal introduction.
Thank you. So yes, Teddy, lousy hair. I reigned from Jacksonville, Florida. Lived in Ocala and Gainesville for most of my life, where I attended the University of Florida. Go Gators. Played golf pretty much most of my life. Did a lot of junior golf growing up. Played in a lot of tournaments. Play with some guys that are out on tour now, which is kind of cool. Thinking back
Name
on
him.
it.
Let's hear him. Who is it?
So Daniel Berger, me and him played together quite a bit. Hank Laboda, he's kind of fringe PGA status, Korn Ferry status. Probably the best player I've ever played with. Um, I've seen him shoot 63 as a 15-year-old multiple times. Like insane,
Yeah.
insane game. Those are probably the biggest ones. Played a couple times with Chase Koepka, but honestly, he was awful growing up. It's
What is awful? Because like
awful's like
I'm awful.
high 80s,
Oh,
like
okay, I'm awful.
all the time. Um, and then to now get paid to play golf is that it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Um, Probably those are the main ones. But yeah, Central Florida, there's a lot of talent coming through, so it was pretty cool. And then just kind of played school instead, and now just kind of try to get out there on the weekends and
Did you play in
win some
college?
money. I did not. I had an offer to University of South Florida, committed there, and then they fired the coach. My going into oh geez,
Teddy's
um,
losing his headphones.
it's those headphones. Yeah, I told you. They fired the head coach going into my senior year. So the incoming coach released everybody from their commitments. But in college golf and in junior golf, basically you sign, the fall of your senior year or, towards the end of your junior year. Um, So if you're not locked in, everybody's full at that
You're
point.
pretty much toast. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was either, maybe try to go to a small school and, get like a half scholarship or something, or,
Hmm.
just go with some friends and enjoy 4 years of college. So
Yeah, I
I did
gotta
that.
imagine those schools down in Florida probably fill up quickly, and there's just a
Yeah,
huge, you know, talent pool to pick from
yeah.
with
I
limited
mean,
spots, right?
and even the smaller school like USF at the time, they weren't that good. They were decent. They had some good players. But like now, I mean, USF's top program, obviously University of Florida's top program.
Hmm.
All the major schools, but even the smaller ones, Florida Southern, they're a small school. I think they're D2, but they're super competitive. UNF is D1, but they don't really have the resources as all these other schools, but they compete year after year, and it's tough.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure. So, Teddy, I'm going to interrupt your intro again.
yeah.
We've got a gentleman who's thinking that you maybe still live at home. Why don't you tell us how old you are?
Yeah, so I'm 31. I have not lived at home since I was 18 years old. The summer before my freshman year of college, my parents were moving back to where they're from, Kentucky, and they were dropping me off with my stuff at my college apartment while they moved back up north. So I've been on my own since 18. I do not live with my parents or in their basement, and I've been self-sufficient. So
For
yeah,
12 years now,
for
so or
12 years,
13 years now.
13 years. Yeah,
So there you go, crowd. He's 31. He's not 19, and
no,
he is an adult.
I
Tim
might
Hunt.
still look 19, but
Yeah, no, you have not aged probably one bit.
no,
Um, Taylor Wayne Siegel wants to talk about your plants, but we'll ignore that one.
that's my roommate. She's pretty good with plants. So
It's it's called feng shui,
yeah,
TWS.
yes,
So, all right. So college golf didn't play. You went to University of Florida. Go Gators.
go Gators.
Am I recalling correctly that your dad is in golf?
He originally he moved down in the I think like 1990, 91, somewhere around there. And he was an assistant pro at Doral and then at a few courses in the Tampa area. And then he was in the golf business for 20 years. Got sick of the members, left when I was in high school, just worked at the high school I went to, and then got back into the business when they moved back up to Kentucky. He was the GM at Eastern Kentucky University at their course for a few years, and then recently left again because he remembered how much he hates people. So
Got it.
out of golf, yeah. But yeah, that's mainly why I got into it, was just being at the course with him pretty much after school and on the weekends. That was the only time you'd be able to spend time with your dad. So
Right.
we'd go and it was either just sit in his office and do homework or go practice. So,
Mm. Hmm. Very cool.
and by practicing, it was go pick the range and, hit balls out of the trees. So,
Yeah, go pick up 5,000 balls and maybe you can
yeah,
hit 20 of them.
yeah, pretty much.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Perfect. What is your current handicap? Where are you at right now?
It's funny you mentioned that. I didn't realize I had not paid for 2024 for the gin handicap services. But I just signed up for a weekly men's league that starts tomorrow. So I had to do that. And so I hadn't put in any scores all of this year or towards the tail end of last year. So right now it says it's like a plus 1.4, but that's not accurate. I'm probably like a 2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start putting in some scores and we'll figure it out in a month or so.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 plus 4, unofficially a 2.
Yes. Yes.
Plus 1 4. Yeah. Whatever.
Plus one.
You know what I'm talking.
Just
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes, just scratch
He's
golf.
scratch golfer. I can attest to that. Teddy's very good. Um, it's arguable at this point, but Teddy and I were probably part of the best 6-man scramble team or 5-man scramble team in the history of golf. So
We, there was some debate on some final scores. Um, we might have won, possibly.
scandal.
We don't know for sure. I believe they're still trying to find certain teams' scorecards, and then we'll figure it out from there.
Unreal.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah,
It
but that
honestly,
was a good team.
the putt that Nutty made on 18 should have just automatically bumped us into the win.
Some guys just have that it factor.
And
Nutty has it.
Nutty has it. Yeah, I agree. Perfect. That was a lot of fun. We played a lot of golf that week, right?
We did.
And to have 5 guys on a team just rolling down through whispering pines,
Whispering pies.
whispering pies, just having a good old time. It was a great time. So
It was hot as. Can I cuss?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it was hot as shit.
Oh yeah.
It
The
was
hottest day was the first day, if you ask me, at Pine Needles. There's photo evidence of it, Teddy.
Well, we teed off later, I believe, right? Sometime around. Well, once we got out on the course, it wasn't that bad. But you guys were there relatively early and hitting balls and putting and stuff, and yeah, the sun was just baking on you. But once we got out on the course, I don't think it was that bad.
Yeah, I learned that day there's certain shorts you wear to a golf course in the middle of June, and there's some that you don't, and it was a learning experience. So,
yeah.
What was Teddy? We got a question. What's your favorite course that you've ever played?
My favorite course would probably be it was actually recently it was voted best in 352. 352 is like a Central Florida area code. It's called Lake Diamond Golf and Country Club, and it's probably the premier course in that area. And Ocala is known for golf.
Yeah, Lake Diamond.
Lake Diamond, $20 cart, 18 holes, whenever you want, mornings, afternoons, weekends, doesn't matter. There's nobody ever out there. There could be mushrooms on the greens, but as far as how much fun it is in the layout of the track, you can't beat
it. Tim is claiming that this is a bit, but you really like this golf course.
I do really like this golf course.
Okay, all right.
It's a hot topic for other people in that area. I don't think other people can appreciate being able to play a course multiple ways. So on this course, for instance, you can leave the driver in the bag if you want, or you can take it over corners, dog legs, whatever. Have a 7-iron and get around that place. There's no one way to play that track. So to me, that means it's a good golf course, and I'll stand by that. And yeah, that's my truth.
Do you remember what you shot, let's say, at Pine Needles that day?
So at Pine Needles, I don't know the exact number. I believe I shot 74 or 75, but I will say that one of the other gentlemen that I played with, so he had this game where for every birdie, you would have to shotgun. I think we were either drinking High Noons or White Claws. I can't remember.
Gotcha.
But so we were playing that game, and I know between the two of us, we had 16 birdies, and I believe I had 6 or 7 of them, and that was a crazy round, especially having 6 birdies and shooting 2 or 3 over. It was
I'll say you had 6 birdies, but you're shooting 74.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's one. You never seen the course before. That's my first time in the area. I had just driven from Gainesville, left at like 2 a.m. Got up there, hit a few balls, and you guys teed off like 5 minutes after I got there. Um, so yeah, that was pretty wild. And then later on that day, that same gentleman actually made a hole in one on a par four. I don't know if you were around
That's that
for
guy?
that. That's that guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
more more scandal.
yeah.
Should we talk?
But
Should we talk
so
about that? Should we? Do you think? What if that guy ends up watching this podcast?
we we could talk about it.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Guys, this podcast was supposed to preview the RBC Heritage. We'll get there, I promise. But I told Teddy at the top, I said, listen, let's have a conversation. We'll go where it goes. You know, we're going where this convo takes us, and we're about to talk about this this incident at that was Mid Pines. So
That was at Mid Pines, yes.
but before we get to that, rank the three. So that week, the highlighted courses were Southern or Pine Needles, Mid Pines, and Southern Pines, right?
Yeah.
Give me your
So
give me your 1 through 3, one being the best out of those three.
so I'll start with three. Three would most. We also played Talmore.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. So let's do those four. Those four.
okay. So I'll probably go starting at number four. I would go. I'd probably go Mid Pines four. Mid Pines had some good holes, but it was mostly all once you get to the back nine is kind of where they start to get good.
Yeah.
So I'd probably and not that Mid Pines was bad by any means. It was a really good course, but of these four, I would say that's four. Three, I would go. I'd probably go Talmore three.
Okay.
Talmore was different outside of maybe the first hole was a little wonky, but after that it was pretty solid. A little different for the area, so some people might not like it, but I enjoyed it. Shot 68. Then 68 hit the pin on 18, and then
Oh, you did. That's right. I was watching. Yeah.
I did.
Well,
So
we joined up as an eightsome at that
we
time.
did. We played 18 as an eightsome, a little dogleg left par four over the water. Had about 120, 130 yards in. Flagged
Let
it.
me interrupt you real quick. Nick Vasco,
Sure.
they had llamas when we played there. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Well, we didn't know about it, but they had the llamas in the pen, and you can have them caddy for you if you plan it in advance. So
Oh, I
if you
didn't
are,
realize that. You
yes.
could bring them
So
on the course. Okay.
yes. So if you are planning a trip to Talmore, just try to have that as part of the package. I don't know how much it
If
is,
you
but
knew that, would you have asked for one? Like, would you have wanted to?
100%.
Oh, not as caddies
100%.
anymore. Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't realize. This is the first time hearing that you can have him. You could have had him as caddies.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Um,
Okay. All right. So
so
Tallamore hit the pin on
Talmore,
18.
they also I want to point out Talmore was great because their logo has it's kind of a rip off of Augusta.
If you watch the last episode, I wore my Tallamore hat.
Yeah, they in the bar they had a cease and desist letter from
Right.
Augusta National, and the employees of Talmore just signed it and framed it and hung it at the bar.
I would too. It makes perfect sense to do that.
Super classy. So yeah, two, I would then do Pine Needles. Pine Needles was a great track. A lot of good holes. Maybe like two holes that are just kind of, whatever. But primarily every hole was visually intimidating. And the conditions and stuff, I mean, you just can't beat it. And then number one by far is Southern Pines. That going back to Lake Diamond, I would actually say Southern Pines is probably above Lake Diamond in my book. I think number eight is a straightaway par four going to the halfway house. That's the only hole that, probably could have done something else with.
Sure.
But all 17 other golf holes are fantastic.
Yep.
That was an amazing golf course.
I would probably rank the same as you. Four Mid Pines, three Tallamore, two Southern or Pine Needles, and one Southern Pines. Southern Pines was great. I'm going to throw Jeff Whipple and Tom Hyde under the bus for just straight up leaving on hole 10. They're like,
Yeah.
we're done with this.
If you didn't play as a single, you probably would have enjoyed it that much more.
Yeah.
Because you can't you you really can't notice everything that goes into each hole. So it helps having other people point out certain things, because you might get distracted by this waste area and these slopes over here, and
Yep.
and for you primarily you're on the right side of a hole, so you might not see everything that's on the left side. So
Hold on. Hold the phone. Okay.
okay,
During my match with David Barton the third, DB3,
okay,
I think I just played so much golf at that point. It was so hot. My body was so loose. I was hitting draws off the tee.
and you didn't game plan for that, so
No. But finding the fairways was not my problem. It was everything else.
Sure.
And it carried over to Southern Pines. Jeff Whipple, you can go and ask him. He saw it. Jeff Whipple was not happy about me throwing him under the bus. He's in the chat, so it is what it is. Jeff, Jeff Whipple hits the nicest little baby draw off the tee you've ever seen.
He does. Jeff Whipple actually won the fourth flight in the Azalea Amateur, which is a heralded amateur event in Palaca, Florida. A lot of big names have won there before. And he competed 2 out of the 3 days. They still gave him the trophy, and hats off to him. He persevered, stuck it out.
You can't hide greatness, honestly.
No.
You just cannot.
Not with the Olimars in the bag.
So, okay.
All right. Should we get into it now?
Well, we were going to discuss the hole in one. Do we want to talk about that? On the par four at mid.
Oh yeah. Let's get into it. Yeah.
Okay. So if you've ever been to Pine Needles, Mid Pines, Southern Pines, they've got great cabins. What do you want to call them? The dogwood chalets. Yeah. Cabins,
villas.
Houses, villas. So we were all behind pretty much. That is the 10th green.
So 10
with the
11,
halfway house right there.
Right off 10 tee box. Well, we had a few houses all up and down number 10.
But we're all down 10, so that was the 9th green. We were all chipping and putting.
No, so that was 16. I want to say.
Oh, it's
16.
Okay.
Yes, because it comes back around. So 16, and I could be wrong. It might be 15. But it's a pretty short dogleg right par 4. You got a bunch of trees.
Downhill.
It's probably 310, 320 on the scorecard. But it's you could hit 7 iron, and it's fine.
I'm pretty sure I hit 4 iron off the tee every time we played. I think we
probably had a little
walking and
flip
stuff.
wedge.
Yeah.
I
think I ended up in the trees on 2 of them. So
yeah, well, that checks out.
Little punch
on
out.
The right. Trees on the right.
Yeah, it was right. Yes.
Yeah. What was I saying before? Okay.
Yeah.
Anywho, but so they're so it's late in the afternoon. On the first day, some of us got there early and played at Pine Needles, and then the rest of the group was coming up that afternoon. So by this point, mostly everybody is there. We are on 16 green, chipping and putting. There's probably 20 of us.
I'd say it's a safe number. Yeah.
Yeah. 20 of us just kind of, fucking around. And, we all have our own golf balls and, a couple clubs.
Yep.
Just doing chipping contests, putting contests. And each time, a group would get in the fairway or something, we'd all walk off. But so we're messing around. We see carts now coming down the fairway. So, we start to move out of the way. And the gentleman that I had, shotgun 16 seltzers with earlier that day, we see each other, we're talking. He starts asking where his ball is. No clue. Never saw it. Never heard it. No idea what you're talking about.
I had no idea people were coming down. I didn't see any balls at any point in time.
Yeah. Never saw anything. So, and it's not like it's a massive green. This is like
it's small. Yeah. It's like,
maybe 20 by 20. Yep. Like it's not very big. So there's not a lot of room for 20 people to be on a green and not see or hear a tee ball come down.
Yep.
But so he's asking, if we've seen his ball, and I can vouch for him that his ball, he does have. I can't remember exactly what the markings were, but he would use like a yellow golf ball with a bunch
Yellow.
of
Yep.
random lines and stuff on it. And I knew exactly what ball this guy was playing. And so we're looking in the bunkers, we're looking in the trees. I believe, did he look in the hole or did somebody else?
So my recollection of everything that happened was that a certain someone, we will not name him on this podcast,
No.
who has had controversy surround him pretty much at every type of outing.
Yes, correct.
This one included, and the scramble, what have you.
Sure.
He said, "Have you looked in the hole?"
Okay.
And the guy went and looked in the hole, and there it was. This same person, this is where we're going to ruin a story possibly for somebody, may have made comments later on in the evening that, yes, he saw the ball roll up and he tapped it into the hole.
He did make those comments. He wasn't sure whose ball it was.
Yeah, I mean, and we were all just hitting the ball around,
yeah.
I was hitting Teddy's balls when he rolled them up on me and vice versa.
Yes.
I don't think it was like, I'm going to hit this ball into the cup because some guy just teed off, right?
No. It was just somebody's going to come over here. Yeah.
No ill will.
But yes, he did. I think initially the other gentleman was trying to make sure that there was no, foul play or anything involved. None of us at this point, after he saw, the ball was in the hole, none of us knew, how it got there or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
How could we have missed, some dude rip driver over the trees, two hop it into the hole. But that's crazy that it happened. Congrats. You just made a hole in one on a par 4. And I believe it was his first ever hole in one as well.
Yeah.
So immediately,
like, once we convinced him, like, hey, dude, like, nobody did anything here. Like, I didn't see your ball. Like, it's in the hole. Everyone's claiming we didn't see your ball rolling.
Nobody saw anything.
Which had to be the perfect scenario before gentlemen, possibly admitted to foul play.
Yes.
The stars would have to align perfectly for this once in a lifetime opportunity for the 50 people, 25 people that were there.
So he, I believe they immediately stopped playing golf and went to the bar to celebrate.
Because it was also getting dark. It was probably getting dark
in
the next 15 minutes.
And then about 2 hours later, he actually showed up at our house. He knew where we were staying. He knew some of the guys that were in the group as well.
Yeah.
So he paid us a visit, was hammered, just wanted to make sure, his hole in one was legit. We assured him it was, to our knowledge. And so, even to this day, he probably tells the story about his first hole in one.
I think at this point, either way, he's making 2 at least, right? So that's the story. I honestly forgot about that until we started talking. So
yeah, okay. I did too. I kind of forgot about him because he and I had a great rant. I believe he lives in Jacksonville. I should probably hit him up and see if he wants to play golf again.
Too funny. Just don't tell him about this podcast.
No, God, no.
All right. So how about the task at hand? What this podcast is titled? What do you say we talk about the RBC heritage?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay. So last year was actually a very entertaining finish going into
very
Sunday.
Exciting.
Fitzpatrick and Spieth playoff, where Fitzpatrick on the first hole almost jars his second shot, right, to get the ugliest jacket in the world.
Yeah.
Let's not mince words there when it comes to the trophy. But it seems like it's a jacket that a lot of players want to have in their repertoire, right? And I think
it's way better than cowboy boots for the Valero.
I got legs that would not work well with cowboy boots, so I'm out
No,
on that one. They'd look good on the shelf back there.
sure.
Maybe I'll ask
To be fair, the
Akshay to
jacket
send them
may
over.
not be that
It's
much
probably
better
not big
for you.
enough. Yeah, it's probably not
Yeah.
big enough. Um, Tim Hunt, the RBC is played in Hilton Head. I need to file a correction with the FEC. Um, I said it was in Myrtle. I was literally looking at Hilton Head when I was reading it, and for some reason my head just went to Myrtle Beach. So, uh, yes, I'm an idiot. You're welcome. Let's move on, Tim. So the RBC, great finish last year. It's a signature event this year. Big purse, big name players. Scotty Scheffler's in the field. Everybody you want to watch who is still part of the PGA Tour and hasn't gone over to live. Um, what are you looking forward? When it comes to the RBC Heritage, do you like the course layout? Do you like the shots that you have to hit? What is your favorite thing about the
Yeah,
tournament?
I mean, I think it's not necessarily, a bomber's course. I don't have the yardages in front of me. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, 70, 100, 70, 200 yards. It's nothing crazy, especially for these guys. It's a pretty pretty cool setting as well, right there with the marsh and everything. The players seem to love it. They I think there's a reason that they get this sort of field year after year.
Mm-hmm.
You get a lot of good players, and yeah, I mean, I just think at least watching on TV, it's a pretty fun tournament to watch.
I think it's got that iconic like thing about it. It's got the lighthouse.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it just seems like you said, even if it wasn't a signature event, maybe not this year, but years past, like they've always had a good showing. When it
yeah.
comes to players committing to it, because like I said, I think a lot of players want that red plaid jacket, hanging up, with whatever else they win in their trophy room wherever. Um, it's kind of part of that. We'll call it the
Their parents'
PGA Tour.
basement,
Like,
maybe.
yeah, maybe their parents' basement if you're Teddy.
Right.
Uh, it's just got like that legacy feel to it. It seems,
Yeah.
which the PGA Tour tries to tout itself on, which doesn't probably connect with the younger crowd. But
No, probably
yeah,
not. But you do. I mean, last year was a great finish.
hmm
I mean, this is one of those places. It's pretty tough for somebody to just run away with it. Um, it's kind of set up, like you're talking about on 18, with the lighthouse and everything. There's usually some sort of drama coming down to that last hole. Um, the guys, very rarely are they hitting driver off that tee.
hmm
Most of them kind of have it figured out, lay up with a 3-wood or a long iron,
right,
have your, you know, pitching wedge or 9-iron into it. Um, but it does kind of set up for some drama pretty consistently.
yep. So I've got tee times for Thursday up. It seems
Okay.
like there's quite a few good ones, to start off. You got Scotty and Jordan.
Okay. Who do you like in that pairing?
So I'm a Jordan Spieth guy through and through. He's let me
No,
down
okay.
this year. I don't know if
Yeah.
you knew that. If you don't know that, ask Michael Bryan Ord about it. But big fan of Jordan Spieth. Scotty, I mean, how do you like bet or like root against Scotty at this point? I mean, he's playing some of the best golf we've seen in a while.
It's pretty tough, but I I mean, how can you go back to back to back like this in huge events?
What
I
is he?
mean,
I
it's
think
just
he's win second where he missed a 5 foot putt for
right.
a playoff win.
Like that's just it's unheard of. I mean, it's crazy. In consecutive events, it's not like he's taking weeks off in between. Like with Tiger, you could kind of make the argument that it is possible because he took a couple weeks off, worked on some things, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's not immediately leaving a media press conference with the green jacket and then teeing it up that Thursday. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't think that ever happened.
Sure. Brett Douglas says Spieth will have 5 less putts per round than Scotty. Brett, I wish that mattered at this point because Spieth hasn't done jack shit this year. Moving on. So Scotty Scheffler, Jordan Spieth. Then we kind of got some nice tee times after that. We got Wyndham Clark and Sahith Theegala going off directly after them.
Okay, that's a good group.
Max Homa, then Fleetwood, who both I think that was Fleetwood's best finish at the Masters at least, wasn't it?
It was, yeah,
And same
yeah,
with Homa, I think at any major. So
yeah.
they're both coming off great Sundays, great rounds, great tournament last week. Fleetwood, that was not his normal caddy at the Masters. He had an Augusta caddy.
Now, how important is a caddy, Cam? You have some caddying experience. I
Yeah,
mean,
no big deal. I think, especially at a place like Augusta, it's got to be fairly important, more
sure,
so than say if you're at the RBC Heritage even, right?
yeah,
Um, these guys, they're the caddies work for the golfers, right? But these guys are friends, like they're essentially family, right? I
yeah,
mean, to be like, hey, dude, first of all, the caddy's probably pissed he can't go to the Augusta. I think he's like sick or something or got something crazy going on.
yeah.
He's
I
like,
didn't see why he didn't take his usual caddy.
I gotta imagine it was something serious to be like, yeah, I can't go caddy
Okay,
for you at the Masters, right? Um, I, I would say it's probably pretty important, especially if you're an emotional player, like
hmm
somebody who you trust to also help you get through this round. Like if you go ahead and knock one into the water, you know, are they there to help you kind of level set your head and get back into it,
yeah,
or what's that relationship like? And I think also too, these guys are so good. Like they're hitting shots exactly where they want to hit them, right? They need that second opinion on like wind direction or like maybe an idea of like rather than hitting this 5 iron a little harder, why don't we hit like a 4, a little
hmm
softer cut, whatever. I gotta imagine it's fairly important, but what I
yeah.
heard is that Fleetwood was very happy with the caddy he had, and it worked out well.
I think it's also that's one of the places where having a local guy be able to kind of talk you through a lot of the intricacies of Augusta. Um, a lot of those guys, if you haven't been able to play in that sort of event, numerous times and had that practice time to really hit out of all the different spots and,
Mm-hmm.
hit all the different putts on, some of these pin placements, having somebody that, you can kind of be a little more confident in his reads or, what he's seeing or what he's feeling. That also frees up the player. And, like you're saying, these guys are so incredibly good that, if it's one less thing they have to think about, it's, it makes it pretty easy for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Tyler Bell, our insider to all things golf and golfer related PGA Tour,
Yeah.
he bumps biggins with the pros. He
Yeah.
says Finno, his normal caddy, has some serious health issues going on.
Mm, okay.
So yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, like it probably helped tremendously to have a guy who's looped that place a million times.
Yeah. Yeah.
In all conditions and in all, tournaments, whatever. Like that dude probably knows what he's talking about more so than 99.9 people percent on the planet when it comes to that golf course. So,
Yeah.
so I don't mind that. I put a little jangle on Max Homa for an outright win this week. He's my pick in the one and done pick'em that we're in.
Okay.
Tommy Fleetwood could be a sleeper though too. He's coming off a great Sunday at Augusta.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, it's tough to bet against Scheffler, but you almost have to with how well some of these other guys are playing right now. Obviously, Scotty's ahead above everybody else, but there's got to be some sort of distraction, right? After winning the Masters. So, you would assume that he's not going to be as good. Now, is his not as good game still good enough to win the RBC? It's possible. I, so,
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of tough to go against that, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just don't. I mean, cue to Sunday when he's putting on that plaid jacket, but I don't see him winning. But you never know. But I'm not going to put any money on it.
Yeah, I got you. So after that, we got Justin Thomas and Kevin Kisner. Sponsor exemption.
Yeah.
Kevin Kis. Let's talk about
Kisner's got
Kisner.
some. He's got some great odds. He hasn't done shit this year.
Mhm.
I think this is only like his fourth start, maybe.
Yep.
Maybe fifth. I don't know. But it's a place he can probably compete on, right? Like we're saying, it's not that long of a course.
Hmm.
You just you got to be able to putt. He's a notorious great putter.
Good putter. Yeah.
Um, so I think he was like plus 10,000 when I was looking earlier. So
Could be worth a little couple
it's not
bucks on
bad.
there for maybe a top 10 or outright win, right?
Yeah.
What I wanted to talk about Kisner was I think he's very good when he's on the mic. Him and Smiley's their happy hours and stuff have
Yeah.
been tremendous. He's good at golf, like he's a professional golfer, right?
Yeah.
He's just coming up on the end of his career, like you say, he's not a big hitter like the rest of these guys.
Yeah. Kind of tough to compete on most of these tracks.
Yep. I'm looking forward. I hope he sticks that out when his time comes and he gets in the chair and he does that for a few years because it's always very entertaining and he's got that pro golfer mentality and he like knows what shot he would hit so he can easily say like, yeah, this is a shot he's probably going for right here. And then the guy just knocks it to 10 feet like Kevin Kisner said he was going to do. And
sure.
Him and Smiley just have a good vibe.
Have a good chemistry.
Yeah, chemistry.
And both of them being not too far removed from the game as well, kind of helps, right? They know it. If you look at somebody like Azinger, right, like especially the last, I don't know, at least 10 years, he was pretty awful in the booth. And it could probably be contributed to he hasn't played a competitive round in God knows how long, and just didn't really do the work that's necessary to kind of keep up with what's going on out there. So it's pretty easy to just say like, basically make every shot out to be a super hard shot. And then, it's just a straightforward pitch shot that these guys hit all the fucking time. So, it makes them look good, but there's no work being done on his part.
Right.
Whereas at least Kisner and Smiley, I mean, they know.
They're both probably still on the golf course 5 out of 7 days a week at minimum, right? And they're I don't really remember watching Smiley like be a pro golfer. I'll be honest with you. I don't really know.
It was pretty brief. I mean, I think it was year and a half where he was touted as like the next guy. He was having a bunch of high finishes, and then I think he got injured and then just tried to come back, but just couldn't make it.
Gotcha. Sad. Back to the tee time. So we got Justin Thomas, Kevin Kisner, JT, another disappointing season so far.
Yeah.
But
he's had some good finishes at the RBC as well, though. So maybe he writes the ship.
And it seems like this could just be a good bounce back week for a lot of guys. Jordan plays it well. JT, Kisner, like we said. What are your thoughts on the young? He's not really like young at this point. He just took a while to get to where he's at with a win in Mexico this year. But Jake Knapp.
So I didn't end up putting any money on him on the last couple tournaments, but it was really tough not to, just because he looked so good in Mexico, and just watching him just overpower a golf course. And it looks so easy when he swings too, right? It's just effortless power.
It doesn't even look like he's trying. He's just like, I'm gonna go hit this ball. It's gonna go 320 yards down the fairway, and we're just gonna go hit it again.
The guy's got 130 mile an hour swing speed, and like it doesn't look like he's even trying. I love his game. I don't think this is going to be the week that he bounces back. But he's locked up his card, so he can play a little more freely. But I think he's still trying to adjust. Not having the right of having to finish in a top 10 or whatever just to get some more starts.
Yeah, and when you win, like that's like a 2-year. Like you're on the tour for the next 2 seasons, full seasons, right?
Yeah.
So he's got plenty of time to get used to the big tournament, pressure.
Yeah,
Yeah. That his swing just baffles me because, like, as
yeah,
you know, like I struggle to have anywhere near correct mechanics on any point in
sure.
time on a golf course. And like you said, his is just like it's like lackadaisical
Lax.
looking. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas it's just take it back, hit the ball, it's going
it's just
350.
it's a 1-2,
Yeah.
and it's just
Talking about our friend Mitchell Burney, like that seems like Knapp's a perfect tempo example, right? Like his
yeah,
tempo is
correct,
perfected to
correct.
where the way he swings the club at the tempo he's at is just perfect.
Yeah, yeah. He's listening to some sort of classical music while he's warming up, getting that
Yeah.
tempo, and
Mhm.
or maybe he just has a metronome on the range with him. I don't know,
Yeah. Okay.
but yeah,
Take
I mean, I hope he wins again this year because he's a great guy to watch.
yeah. Yep. I like Jake Knapp. I saw his name. I want to get your take on him because I know we haven't talked about him much probably in the
Yeah,
chat and whatnot. Tyler Bell says Smiley won in the fall of 2015 and was in the final pairing of the 16 Masters and had a serious injury on 17 and lost his game. I didn't realize it was that long ago, but I guess that makes sense. Like when he was a
yeah, because I
rookie and
remember.
sophomore and junior or third season probably.
Yeah, I think it was last year he was trying to come back, or maybe it was 2 years ago. But he missed. I think it was. I can't remember if it was Q school or if it was one of the events to get to Q school. But I think he was like one shot within the cut line, and then he just had to two putt, and then he hit it to, I don't know, 3 inches, and walked up, went to tap the ball in, but there was a bunch of sand on the ball and on the face of his putter, and so like he hit it, but it just, I mean, it rolled like an inch, and that was the last competitive round he played.
That's
Pretty wild.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right. The last tea time that's really sticking out to me could be very interesting. It's in the afternoon.
Okay.
It's Rory McIlroy
Okay.
and the young gun Ken Barbie doll Ludwig Oberg, who
That's a great group. That's a great group.
I'm
I
I'm
think.
I'm very high on Ludwig. I'm very high on him.
Yeah.
Like he just seems like I mean he walked off what was that number 11 when they
Hmm.
hit it in the water at the Masters,
Hmm.
made double and he's just like laughing like he's just
Yeah.
like
He
like,
shows
like
zero
all right.
emotion.
He's like all
Yeah.
right. I guess we got to try even harder now on these next holes to
Yeah.
catch up.
Just to make it somewhat competitive. There's zero motion. Um, his ball curves like 5 feet max. Like
Hmm.
he just hits lasers, um, and they go straight up in the air, and he can play anywhere.
I believe he's six off the tee. He's sixth in average apex.
That's pretty impressive. And he
So
also, I mean, he hits bombs too.
yeah,
Like,
they all he's probably got to be what 6'1", 6'2", so he's got a little height to him to
yeah,
where
he's
he
pretty big.
can. Yeah, um, I mean I put him as I got a little money on him to outright win. He's first major ever at the Masters last week and solo second. Really only made
That's
the one mistake, and that was the most important mistake he should have avoided. But
sure.
probably a huge learning experience for him, and I mean he's going to be around for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you also consider it's one of the biggest stages as well. Um, it's pretty impressive that he was able to do that
Mm-hmm.
at a place like Augusta. I don't hate that pick. I would say, who's your number one pick
So I picked Homa in our pick'em
in the
league.
one and done?
I'm
Okay,
I'm waiting on Ludwig. I'm probably going to go with him at Valhalla or another signature event,
okay,
just because I think he's going to compete week in
sure,
and week out every week he's playing. I don't think he's going anywhere, and Homa can be streaky, right? And I kind of want to have his hot hand now and hope
hmm,
he at least performs well. You don't necessarily need an outright win in these things, but it does help. a lot of people have already picked Scotty in that pick'em pool. I have
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah. You might want to hold that one until one of the next couple majors.
Yep. So I got Homa, Oberg, and I put first round leader bets. Hey, we're having a little special guest here, guys. Good night, buddy. Love you, buddy. I like your hat. Um, who else did I put a first round leader on? I typically go towards the morning tee times to do first round
Yeah,
leaders just
little
because
little calm, a little more calm out there.
it just seems like the course might be a little softer depending on
Yeah.
winds. And, I want to say I put some on Scotty to be first round leader and
Okay.
also Finau. Because
Oh,
Finau goes out at 9:05 a.m. I think that's my time, so it could be 7. Um, yeah, so it's 7 my time Eastern, so 9. He's with Adam Schenk. Finau can play. I know a couple people don't like him who are listening, but he's a favorite of mine. I hope he has a long winning career, but he kind of wins those tournaments that may not have the strongest fields. It seems like
yeah, yeah. That's kind of you could almost make the argument that that's why he wouldn't win the RBC, just because
just
it's
too
one of
many
those
people.
bigger
Yeah.
events. Yeah, more
Uh,
popular.
he needs it for his like perception that he gives off to
Yeah,
let's say diehard fans like that chat that we're in. Like let's just name him Tyler Bell. Not a huge Finau guy because of
sure.
that reason.
Because of that reason, or because of a different reason.
We're gonna say it's that reason
Okay,
because his wins haven't necessarily been prominent. If he wins a
sure.
signature event, I mean, it's going to change a lot of people's minds.
Yeah. Would you say the
I root for him.
Valero Texas Open is a signature event?
I mean, technically, it's not right. It's not labeled
It's not elevated,
Um,
but it is a pretty popular event. I mean,
I
maybe
think
not the strongest field, but
it's got to be popular, right? Because of it's a lot of people say you got to peak at the Masters to win it, right? Like that's
yeah,
you got to be in top form. I don't get why everyone doesn't play the week before
right.
to do it. Like, um, I would
At
say
least
Akshay.
see where your game's at. I mean,
Yeah.
most of the guys that don't play though, they don't. They've played. They played in the Players, which
Hmm.
it's not too far removed from it. Probably played in Bay Hill too,
Right.
right? They have a pretty good idea of kind of what is wrong and what's right with their game. And so, they'd
But
rather just get to the
why not
proper
go
course.
work that out? Why not go work that out
Yeah,
and
I mean,
get
I agree.
like you can still get to Augusta from Texas Sunday night and you're at Augusta on Monday,
Yeah,
Tuesday at the latest. I mean, I had $20 on Akshay to win, the Valero from the beginning. So I was watching every minute of it. Denny McCarthy almost became my least favorite golfer in the world.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
that's
so
that's a pretty good segue because that's actually who I picked for this
yeah,
week is Denny McCarthy.
and your reasoning's probably got to be a good putter.
Got to be a
Um,
great putter. He's a fantastic putter, as you saw while he almost killed Ashke and ruined. Did you have any
eight
money on Denny for
no,
the Valero?
well
No.
no. So I hedged
Oh, that's
when
right. That's right.
when they made the turn. I'm like, let me like
Yeah.
it's either Akshay or Denny because they were so far ahead. I'm like, I'd be
Yeah.
dumb not to put $150 on Denny to win. Because the way I saw it,
Yeah.
it's like I turned 20. If I bet 150 on Denny, that means okay, I bet 170 to win 800 on Denny if Denny wins, or I
Yeah.
just bet 170 to make 2300 on Akshay. So it's like it
Yeah.
just makes sense. So
It
I
makes
did
sense.
hedge. I did hedge
Okay.
at the turn.
But yeah, you know, he's a great putter, which you need. He's a, you know, decent ball striker. He's going to hit the fairway, not going to miss a lot of shots. Um, and he's
Did he play?
playing some really good golf.
Did he play the weekend at Augusta? I don't think he did. Right? He didn't make the cut.
No, he did. He
He
did.
did. Okay.
Yeah.
So Denny McCarthy's your pick for the Valero for the
RBC.
RBC.
Yeah.
I've got Homa also throwing a little jangle on Ludwig because he's
Why
probably
not?
my favorite. Yeah, why not? Like he solo second, first major.
Yeah.
Um, I'm excited. I love watching golf. Like, don't get me wrong, I'd rather play it, but with a 3-year-old, it's a little harder these days. So, um, it's nice when I'm sitting downstairs on Saturday and he comes running down from his nap. He's like, I want to watch golf. I'm like, yeah, you're dang right you do.
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah.
And
So
then you
we're
can't get
easing
in
them in
trouble
there.
with the wife or anything either. So.
Yeah. I told my wife, I'm like, the best day is going to be like when I can take him out and like go play 9 and he like actually can sit there and swing the club a few times.
Yeah.
Enjoy being outside. Because that means I could just play more too. So
yeah, there you go.
it's selfish.
mean,
Don't get me wrong.
That's a pretty good excuse to have a kid if I've ever heard one.
Yeah. Why'd you have a kid? I just want to play more golf. I knew like when they're like 7 years down the road, I could play as much as I want because I could just bring them. So
yeah, it's true.
Got it. What anything else you want to add to the RBC? Your picks, players who, is Denny McCarthy like your dark horse pick too? Because I mean, he's not necessarily that prominent name, right? But
you could consider him as my dark horse pick. The only other player I would be interested in would be probably Shane Lowry. He's got a pretty good record there. I think 3 top 5s in the last 5 years, something like that, something crazy. And he's a good putter. He's probably a little more streaky when it comes to his putting.
Mm-hmm.
But he's kind of been on that upward trend so far this year. So, maybe it all comes together this week at the RBC where he's had previous, top 5 finishes.
Yeah. Okay. Shane Lowry. Listeners, go put $20 on Shane Lowry, top 5.
If you can, I would parlay Denny McCarthy. Shout out DraftKings. I would parlay. That's our other sponsor. We have Cookout and then DraftKings. Maybe parlay a little top 10 Denny McCarthy, Shane Lowry finish if you can.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Not sure what the odds would be on that, but it's probably worth looking into.
A good friend of mine is piggybacking off the Smiley Kaufman podcast. So they've picked a lot of winners this year. Like I think like 90% of the tournaments they've picked winners.
Well, one of them picked Scotty, so yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, okay, it helps. Whatever. They're picking either Fleetwood or Cam Davis. So maybe it's worth putting a Fleetwood win plus top 10 from Davis pays plus 11,300. And then if you reverse that, a Davis win with the top 10 by Fleetwood pays 17,000. Plus 17,000.
That's not bad. I mean, you mentioned Fleetwood.
Yeah.
You're on the right track. Cam Davis, after his collapse last week, like over the weekend, like he was within striking distance and then just
a few guys collapse. You got Hogard, you got Cam Davis. That's what Augusta does. That's what Sunday at Augusta does, Saturday.
So I don't really see him bouncing back like that. But
I may just ride that bet because we have the same first name.
Yeah, I mean you do, and similar body types too.
It was Eddie Delashment who is in the chat. If Denny McCarthy wasn't the best putter on tour, he wouldn't have status. He says, and then he also says their picks are one and done. So the Kaufman podcast can't pick the same person twice the entire season. So
that's impressive. Then
what are they like 8 of 11 or something like that? I think I saw.
Pretty good.
The guy knows his golf. Well, I guess that's probably going to do it for us, Teddy.
Well, this was fun. I appreciate you having me on. I'd love to come back on, whenever you'd have me.
Let's do it, dude.
If McCarthy wins, then obviously I have to come back on next week.
Yeah. No, we'll see how your picks do, and that'll be your tryout. Your second
Lowry and McCarthy.
Lowry and McCarthy. Let's see how they do.
Yeah.
Teddy put his rent on McCarthy and Lowry this week, so if you guys want to tail him, he could use all the juju in the world.
I did. Yeah.
I'm just kidding, Mrs. Lousy Hair. He did not put your rent on golf.
Well, I just cover the utilities. They cover the
market. Gotcha. Okay.
And then I do the trash. And
you got a nice little setup. There, Teddy.
It's not bad. My mom makes really good lasagna. I get that most nights. Yeah, I mean, not moving out anytime soon.
Perfect. Oh, you love to see it. Just a guy a mama's boy living at home. All right. Audience, thank you so much for sticking around. We've had anywhere from 15 15 to 25 listeners, watchers throughout the night. Taylor Winsiegel wants Teddy to co-host forever. I'd be fine with that. I don't know if he's got the time for it with his busy life, but we'll talk about it offline.
So yeah, we'll
Make
figure something.
Make sure you go like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. We're the Great Bogey Podcast, and we will see y'all next time.
See you guys.